invite this beautiful community to join me in a deep breath. And as you exhale, I invite you to hum. You can join me. We're gonna breathe in. 1, 2, 3, and hum it out. That felt good. Okay, let's do that one more time. Breathe in. And let's hum it out. Let's go before the throne of grace. Eternal Mother and Father, thank you for bringing us here for a time as this. I ask that you anoint our ears and lips afresh and our hearts, that we may open and expand to receive what you have given us on today. Amen. Picture this, a sunny afternoon, no clouds in sight. The wind caresses your cheek. You are on your way out of the house with the pan of your favorite dish. You are on your way to the cookout. Can somebody say the cookout? No, you gotta say the cookout. All right. A cultural gathering, a convening of your beloved community, family, extended family, friends, friends of friends, a time to reunite, to bond, a time to assess the well-being, a place to celebrate joy, a place where you can rest your heart, your mind, and your spirit. A place where your armor of resilience can release to make space for responses to questions like, how is your heart doing? How's life treating you? What's going on in your world, really? It's a moment where the distressed conditions of living in a hyper-vigilant survival mode, which impacts our nervous system, can have a moment to reset. But to cultivate such a question, you have to ask 2 essential questions. Who is coming to the cookout, and what are they bringing? An inquiry that holds the most controversial debate, because who's making the baked mac and cheese is the center of the dinner plate, right? Who is coming to the cookout invites us to shape community, coalition building, resource sharing, and let loose, while the guest list affirms who is willing to show up when times get hard. Cookouts anchor us to the present reality of the restlessness. It anchors the expansiveness of God's people that isn't just a church or New York City. It also includes the community that we are in community with on earth, our siblings in Canada, in Haiti, and our text, the Israelites. It breaks open and connects us and locates us to a God that is ever present amid disconnection, chaos, and fear. And as I sat with our text on today, amid a human-made climate disaster, particles in the air impacting the least of these, orange haze glistening the sky, for somehow I can see through the muck that the me, we, us. Can we say that together? The me, we, us. That we know what light looks like in face of destruction. We know what community gatherings like our cookouts, our potluck dinners, our barbecues, our town halls signify. We are loved. It signifies we are seen. It signifies we are still here. And if we're bold enough, we will ask ourselves, who are coming to our cookouts? Who is coming to add to the delicious sweetness what coming together in love brings? Who is bringing the love? Who is bringing the radical transparency? Who is bringing the radical imagination? Who is bringing us the affirmations we need? Who is bringing us grace? The prophetic witness of Isaiah, we witness the proclamation of a man who cares deeply about his community and his relationship with God. For Isaiah, this is not a game. It is a matter of the heart that we are able to not only show God, we can care about each other, but we can use our lives as a testament to the breathtaking love that is our Almighty God. Beneath our text, and as proclaimed in our last week's sermon, God has to hold the Israelites accountable. And bet you believe God has to hold us accountable as well. The terror, the destruction, the displacement, the violence witnessed in our text, we also experience in our own social climate. We got here because of our own human decisions. And as a result of me, we, us, can we say that together? Me, we, us. We have to sit in the discomfort of generational turmoil that continues to erupt as a result of us abusing our natural resources, for using our government funds to build more devices that only breed more deconstruction. Instead of pouring back in our community cookout, the increase of political greed and a decrease in our community rituals that hold our sacredness of being human is compromised. And if we are bold enough, we will ask, who is bringing the spirit of justice to our homes, to the streets, to our institutions? Who is bringing? What are we bringing to the history of our state-sanctioned violence in our day-to-day practices? And just maybe, we will honor what our God is bringing to us. God has shown in this text God's righteousness, ongoing flexibility and collaboration, and God's unwavering love. In between the texts, we see God still manages to offer the people walking in darkness a great light and a baby. The doom and gloom events acknowledge that hold us accountable to we are not doing right by our siblings. We are not doing right by our trans youth. We are not doing right by our older adults, our unhoused kin. We are not doing right by our home, whose complex web of ecosystems give us the breath, gives us the water in which we need to be in our bodies. Saints, we're not doing right. And as I wrestled with this text, I had a aha moment. Of course, a baby is born. Our community babies we are responsible for, God proclaims God's mercy by insisting that we can, we should, and we are required to do right by making a new story. However, my thought in this entire text is who having babies in the middle of the decentralization of a systemic structure that plagues our five senses. We are. The Israelites are, right? According to United Nations data, 385,000 babies are born every day, which means 140 million are born every year. There are 140 million ways our stardust babies that are intertwined with the love of God has every way of making its way onto our earthly plane. And there are 140 million ways God can and will disrupt our reality with radical love and radical imagination. I've stumbled upon the age in my life. I say stumbled because it happened really fast, where my community members and I are having these conversations about giving birth, having honest conversations about how do we guide new babies into this world. And my reaction every time is who, how, what, do you not see the state of our affairs? Black folk with uteruses have the highest maternal mortality rate in the United States. And I imagine in this text, there are high mortality rates for our dear friend Israelites as well. Babies are being born in hostile environments. But as the text transforms, as I spent more time with it, God offers the baby, the birth of a baby, as a reframing of what life can look like. The Spirit of Light offers a wonderful counselor, a mighty God with everlasting peace, which means children invite splashes of color into our lives. Us older beings with longer time on earth who have been conditioned by experience that we live in an unkind world with an unkind history. And young people remind us that light exists and the world can be kind and we can envision a kinder future. Children have a creative imagination that rips the curtain of complacency and guides us to remember who we are before we've ever experienced the doom and gloom. Last week, my precious queer community celebrated the life of our dear friend with a gathering in the park with a fantastical theme, Feel Your Fantasy. Dress in your most fantastical outfit, from creatures to elf ears to even fairies. The magic was for the taking. And our time in the park included extra guests, children in deep awe of our outfits and deep wonder asked if they could take a picture with us. We would have thought we were from Disney Channel. Their deep amazement of a gathering with fairies reminded me how important splashes of color means when you do not experience it often. And they took a juicy strawberry on the topping of the cake. Me, we, us. Can we say that together? Me, we, us. Have been leaning and maneuvering through our deepest understandings of what it means to heal, right? And a part of our social political conversation and this inner work. Anybody heard of inner child work? That's been coming up, inner child work, right? It's the hottest thing now, you know, what we're doing, right? And the root work of our healing transports us back to our earliest childhood memories. where we truly begin to develop our sense of personality, our emotional attachment, our relationship building, and so much more. It is through our bodies we tap into, we are able to listen and discover our own inner light that has not completely been obstructed by our binaries and our paradigms of how the world should be. The world just is. And as uncomfortable as it is God's reminder how much we matter as children and how much we matter as older adults in children's bodies. So yes, I said, a baby is born, or a baby is coming to the cookout because a child's presence says we can rebuild after the storm. I mean, we have to. We have a spiritual obligation to leave the world better than we found it for them. And we must be honest and be accountable to our own wrongdoings, as Isaiah urged, and like our friends, the Israelites, urge us in this text. But we have to be prepared to receive this love and the light that God brings us. And instead of pushing children to the side, saying this is grown folks' business, oh, this is not for you yet, how about we listen? Because they can teach us about flexibility. They can teach us about what it means to greet strangers on the sidewalk, even though you don't want to. They can teach us what it means to smile at other people on the subway, even though we want to look at our phones. That is to say that there's creativity in each and every one of us, that we still got it. It's God's reminder in our not so gloomy text that we aren't new to the light. We've always known what liberation feels like in our bodies. We know what dancing is like. We know what coloring is like. We know what singing in the shower is like. And as we move through Pride Month, I just want to say, it will be, if I didn't take the chance to say how beautiful our queer, trans youth are. Their compassion of listening to their deepest knowing says they are not afraid to splash color. They show us we can create without expectation. We are ordained to create. And when we deny our queer trans youth the joy of gender-affirming healthcare, we are denying God's beautiful light from entering our lives. A vibrant yes in the face of the grayness of climate crisis, in the face of color-blind rhetoric, in the face of bigotry. The light of creation breaks through with hope at the center, mobilizing each and every one of us. We are children of God, and we can create justice. We can create affordable health care. We can create food sovereignty. We can create housing for all of us. And that's just the start of the creation story me, we, us can build. So, we have a community cookout gathering, grilling our best corn on the cob, barbecue ribs, grilled chicken, potato salad, even a green casserole. I won't forget about my vegans either. And in order to enjoy the sweetness, the fulfilling nourishment of our bodies, surrounded by relentless laughter, the electric slide breaking out on the dance floor, we must ask again, who is coming to the cookout? Because God does have the final say in the joy of our victory. And we must participate in choosing and honoring and discovering and opening and receiving the people, our emotions, and the creative energy that will give us a liberatory cookout. But remember, a cookout is not a cookout unless folk can leave with a to-go box, meaning a cookout overflowing with God's bountiful love is always on the menu. This is the word for the people of God. Thanks be to God.